Hi there, this is Teresa from Teresa's Crochet Shop. In this video, I'm excited to walk you through one of my crochet patterns and just explain a little bit about what each section means and hopefully clear up some questions you have as you begin to follow crochet patterns. The first section you'll see is the materials you will need section, and this one's pretty straightforward. It's just the hook size that I use, the yarn weight, etc., all the supplies you'll need. I have a separate YouTube video explaining all of my favorite crochet materials to use, and you can find that on my YouTube channel. Now, all of these materials are pretty much recommendations. If you have a different hook size that you're comfortable using or a different yarn weight, of course, you can substitute that. These are just what I use to make the animal that you'll see in the pictures in the crochet pattern. Now, the next section is abbreviations. Again, this is pretty self-explanatory. When you see CH, it means chain. CHS is chains, SC is single crochet, ST is stitch, and STS is stitches, and then DEC stands for the single crochet decrease stitch, which I explain down here in note number 3, and I also have a separate YouTube video where I explain how to do each one of these basic stitches that I use in my crochet patterns. The next section is size. And this is how big the finished animal will be if you use the crochet hook size and yarn weight that I list in the pattern. Of course, if you use a different hook size or yarn weight, it will affect the finished size of the animal. This next section is a list of video links from my YouTube channel that might help you when you're making the animal that this pattern is for. This is a section that's new to my patterns, and I'm working on adding more links to it as I make more shorts and videos explaining how to sew animals together, embroider details, stuff them, everything that I get questions about that I'm trying to help by showing through a video explanation. Now in this next section, these are just some notes. The first one is that this pattern is crocheted in continuous rounds. Almost all of my patterns are crocheted in rounds, which means that you'll be crocheting in a circle instead of back and forth in rows. If a section of my pattern is not crocheted in the round, I will have a note at the beginning of that section that says this part of this pattern is crocheted in rows, not rounds. Note number 2 says that I begin each circle with a chain 2, 6 single crochet, and first chain method. Many people prefer the magic circle, but I prefer this method because I just feel like it's the easiest to explain if you're new to crocheting patterns. I'm going to show in just a couple minutes how you do this chain 2, 6 single crochet, and first chain. If you prefer to use the magic circle, you can just eliminate that step and do however many stitches it says to do into the chain into your magic circle. So if it says 6 single crochet in first chain, do 6 single crochet into the magic circle. If it says 4 single crochet, do 4 single crochet into your magic circle. Note number 3 is a single crochet decrease stitch explanation written out. You can find a video explanation of that in my basic stitches you'll need to know video on my YouTube channel. You can find that link in the description below. So let's move on to the beginning of the crochet pattern. This is starting off the head. In this pattern, I'm making an elephant. So with gray yarn, I'm going to do, this stands for round 1. I'm going to start with the chain 2, 6 single crochet in first chain. And then in these parentheses, that's how many total stitches you will make in this round. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do this step. So in my patterns, I begin each circle with this chain 2, 6 single crochet in the first chain. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do that. First, I'm going to chain 2. Then I'm going to make 6 single crochet stitches into that first chain that I made. Now whether you started with a magic circle with 6 stitches in it or with this method with 6 stitches in the first chain, whatever number you start with, you're going to increase by that number to make a flat circle to begin your piece. So for instance, I started with 6 crochet stitches in that first chain. So the next round I'm going to increase by 6 and increase by 6 and increase by 6 and increase by 6, and that will create a flat circle. So if I started with 5, then I would increase by 5 for each round to make a flat circle, and that will make the top of my elephant's head. Now as you're crocheting in the rounds, you can either put a stitch marker in the first stitch that you made, so that when you come around to it, you know where you started. Or you can count around at the end of each round and make sure that number matches up with this number in the parentheses. So for example, I've just finished round 1, so I should have 6 stitches. And you can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and show you round 2 of this pattern, which is 2 single crochet in each stitch around, or 6 increased stitches. Okay, I've just made 12 stitches, or 2 stitches in each stitch around, and I'm going to show you again how I count around to double check that I've made the correct number of stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 stitches around, and I've just completed round 2 of my pattern. I'm going to show you one more round. I'm going to show you round 3. For this round, it says single crochet 1, then 2 single crochet in the next stitch, which means you'll do those single crochet stitches together in that same stitch, which will make an increased stitch. So now I've done 3 stitches, single crochet 1 and 2 single crochet in the next stitch. And then I'm going to repeat from what's inside the parentheses 6 times to make a total of 18 stitches. You can see that 1 plus 2 equals 3 times 6 equals 18 stitches in the round. For round 4, you'll single crochet 2, do 2 single crochet in the next stitch, and repeat all of that 6 times for a total of 24 stitches. So you will continue increasing by 6 until you have 48 stitches around, and then it says rounds 9 through 14, which is 6 rounds. You're just going to single crochet 48 in each of those rounds. And after that, you'll begin decreasing. You'll be decreasing by 6 stitches in each round, until you have just 15 stitches around at the end of the round. Okay, now after you've finished making the head, it says fasten off. So I'm going to pretend that we finished making the whole head, and to fasten off, I'm going to cut my yarn. Then I'm going to pull this yarn through this loop to make a knot. And that's fastening off. And often it says to leave a yarn tail for sewing. When you want a yarn tail for sewing, you're going to want it to be about 1 foot to 2 feet long, so that you have room to sew whatever you're sewing to whatever you're sewing. Sometimes it will also say just leave a yarn tail for weaving in. In that case, you'll only need a few inches because you'll be weaving it inside the head to hide it. Now it says then place the 12mm eyes between rounds 14 and rounds 15 on the head with 6 to 7 stitches in between. So I want to show you how you will count those rounds and stitches to place them in the correct spot. So here I have a finished head, and it says between rounds 14 and rounds 15. So if you look at your head, you can easily count the rounds because they're in this nice spiral here. So I'm going to count to 14. So round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So the eyes are going to go right here between rounds 14 and 15. It says with 6 to 7 stitches in between, which just means you can decide what look you like better for your animal. To count 6 stitches in between, you're going to start from this side and you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and insert your eye so that when they're both inserted, you can count those 6 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, between the 2 eyes. So the last thing I want to show you in this pattern is that when you go on to make the trunk, which is a totally different shape than the head of the pattern, it's more of a tube instead of a ball, you're going to start again with 6 stitches. For round 2, you're only going to increase by 3 to make 9 total stitches. And then you'll do 8 rounds of 9, which will create the tube of the elephant's trunk. I hope these explanations were helpful as you learn to read a crochet pattern, and specifically one of my crochet patterns. Please feel free to contact me anytime at hello@teresascrochetshop.com with any crochet questions that you have. If you're new to crocheting patterns and would like to follow along with a full video tutorial, I have a few free video tutorial patterns on my YouTube channel that are complete video tutorials that show you step by step how to make each animal with the instructions in the videos. But if you would like to know other easy to crochet patterns, I have a list of some of my easiest crochet patterns to make in the description of this video. Thanks so much for watching. Happy crocheting!